So let's talk about deliberate creation. Now, deliberate creation, what that means is that there are a lot of people who are living, walking through this life and just allowing things to pass by. They observe them and then they focus on pretty much whatever's in front of them. You're just in default mode, watching what passes and giving it your attention. Danger here is that, remember, you get what you think about. So in those cases, you end up just thinking about whatever comes your way, and then whether it's wanted or unwanted, you manifest it into your future. Now, deliberate creation does not mean that you're no longer an observer, right? You're a natural observer. We want to be observers. We want to sift and sort. The issue is that some people are not sifting and sorting. They're only observing anything that passes by. Now, as you practice yourself into being more of a deliberate creator, what that looks like is you being intentional about what deserves your focus and where you want to place your power, right? So as you're walking through life and as things pass your way, you observe them, and then for the things that are desired, you immediately, right, can't help but put that into the vortex, and you focus yourself into aligning with the desire that you have now identified. When you observe something that is unwanted, you form a preference, right? This is the step that so many of us aren't taking, and it's why we continue to manifest negativity and unwanted into our continued experience, right? Because we look at the unwanted, which we should do, and that's a good thing. The clearer you are about what you don't want, the clearer you get about what you do want. This is a good step to take. It's just not the step to stop on. And so you identify what you don't want, and the next step you ask, and it's immediately given. And now your task is to align with the version of you who asks a question cannot be the same version who receives the answer. Frequency where that can flow to you. There's a gap, right? That's why you have a question. There's a gap between those two parts, and you have to become receptive to receiving that answer before it can actually flow. It's exciting that you have full control and full reign over the things that come to you in this life, and that you can choose and to be or do or have anything that you want. And if it can come to you, if you can receive the idea, then it can be yours. Yes. So in being a deliberate creator, you're now observing, you're taking that step one of identifying what you don't want, and then it's immediately given, and your step three is to align with that frequency. Now, like equals like. That is the basis of the universe, that like equals like. And so in order to manifest certain things or anything into your experience, you have to match the frequency of it before it comes. And what I'm saying here is what we've been saying since we were kids, that you have to believe it to see it, right? That like Santa Claus analogy or saying or whatever metaphor that we've been saying since we were kids. This is the same message that I'm speaking on right now, that in order to attract something, you have to already be like it. And so you can't allow your physical reality to cause you to focus so hard there that you don't allow the newness in. I'm thinking of how to break this down, and it's flowing as it's coming, so bear with me. I like to relate this to that memory game where you lay out all the cards, right? You organize them in like a 6x6 or 8x8 or whatever, and you flip the cards over 2 at a time, and you try to get a match, and then you have to remember where the matches are. Now, if one's a teacup and one's a bear, then those just aren't a match, and you end up flipping them over. And this you can use to relate it with yourself and your desires. You've got to be on the same energetic frequency as what you're asking for, otherwise the cards get flipped back over. You haven't been able to massage your vibration into a place of what you want. So think of the things that you want right now. Think of 3 things, like anything that you want to be, do, or have in this life. Anything that's on that list that you just thought of or wrote down or said aloud, you want it because you feel like you will feel better in the having of it, which is accurate, right? Anything you want is because you feel you'll feel better, right, with that thing. And the issue sometimes is that we try to manifest the thing instead of manifesting the emotion that that thing will bring. And so this is how the math breaks down. You want something that will make you feel happy, abundant, joyful, fun, excited, and free. And because you don't currently see it in your physical reality, you are angry and spiteful and frustrated, and you feel like there's a lack of fairness or injustice. So how can something that's on that energetic frequency align with something that's on the frequency of what you asked for? That's the question that you should be asking. Like equals like. If you are not like that thing, it cannot come. And so you don't pout to the universe until you receive it. You don't say, I'm so unhappy, look how sad and unfair that it is that I don't have this thing. You say, how can I find a way to feel right now the way that I would feel and will feel then when I get that thing. That's what you do. You say, what can I do? What can I think about to feel just a little better, a little better? You're not reaching for feeling the best you've ever felt or for having the greatest day on the planet, which would be fantastic. If you're there, you're there. You're reaching for better. You're just consistently and constantly reaching for better. That's what you're doing. And that decision to reach for better and reach for more will always keep you closer in alignment to your desires and to what is being asked for. Okay, so I had this flow, this manifestation just toward deliberate creation, being intentional, doing things on purpose, manifesting on purpose, not being confused when things come. We want to be delightfully surprised, right? Like, because you get what you think about, there is really like, it's almost laughable when things manifest into my experience, like, of course that came. I can have whatever I want. But it's like a pleasant surprise, right? It's like laughable, like, of course that came. That's the kind of manifestation that you deserve and that you're worthy of and that you're born worthy of, right? Not the type that shocks you and confuses you and leaves you spun out and feeling like you're in a spell of chaos, right? We can transition that, and it all begins with you. And everything that I say is to, at the very least, because this is a process and it takes time to shift your beliefs, everything that I say is just to bring that like immediate relief that you're in control. That's a good thing. Even if you are not where you want to be, I know you'll get there, you know you'll get there, and at least you're being called. That's one thing to be super thankful for. You're being called and you can hear and feel the calling because you're so uncomfortable where you're at right now that you have to shift, that you're being called towards something else. So it's time to answer the call. It does take time, it takes practice, but like I said, at the base of it, I offer this to give you that initial relief that it's gonna be okay, all is already well for you, and it's time for you to get into alignment with that. Thanks for listening once again. All is well for you. I love you already.